Hi everyone, it's Jenny from Midwife and Life, and a little while ago I asked you to ask me anything, ask me your questions. So I got a few back and this is finally the video where I'm going to answer them. So the first one I'll get it stuck in is from Lisa Robb, and she's asking about the midwifery training with children. Like, if you do it later in life, how do you cope with it all, basically? So I can only speak for the UK. How we do it in the UK. I know it's different in other countries, so it's best to sort of look up for your own country or region. So I did it before I had children, so I think it is obviously easier if you don't have kids, because there's a lot of practical work involved and you have to work full time when you're on placement for several weeks at a time. So if you've got children, you have to be able to put them in childcare or get some help with that. So it is harder in that sense, and then you've also got your coursework as well. It's a full-on degree course, so you're going to have to do research, do assignments, and keep up with your practical and your skills and everything. But there's two ways of doing it. There's the entry level where you have to have A-levels and go to university, so it's like a 3-year degree course, and you need certain A-levels or certain points before you go into the course. And so over the 3 years you'll have some time in university doing study and other times where you'll be working in the hospital, so you'll be doing shift work. So you will have to be able to commit to doing a certain number of hours of shift work and complete all the academic work as well. So it's a hard course, so you have to be really sure you want to do it and sure that you'll be able to juggle the family life and everything else. So treat it like as if it was a full-time job, because if you're going for a full-time job. So if you can't really commit to that, then I'd leave it a bit longer. But certainly many women with families do it, many mature students, so all ages with children without do it, no problem. Right, so that was also Joanne Greco was asking about what goes into the training. So also you have to deliver 40 deliver 40 babies during the training, which is easily done over the 3 years. The other way you can do it is if you're already a nurse, qualified nurse, you can do an 18-month conversion course, which is what I did. And if you get a job, there's less places that do it now, but you can still get it where you're sponsored by the NHS trust. So you get your nurse's salary, your basic nurse's salary, whilst you're doing the 18-month conversion, and at the end of it you top up to a degree if you didn't have one already, and then you get a job as a midwife and you can increase your salary. So I did it like that, otherwise I wouldn't have been able to do it, because I was already working, I was living on my own, so I needed to pay mortgage and rent and stuff. So because I bought my own flat just before I started the training, I think, or just at the end. Yeah, so I wouldn't have been able to do all that if I hadn't been paid doing it. Right, then I is for Isabel. She has her own YouTube. Asks me, have you ever helped with delivery of a premature baby? Yes, I have both. I've got my own experience. I've had my own premature baby, who was my eldest son, William. He was born at 32 weeks. So apart from that, I have delivered a couple of premature babies. They were both twins, so they were early. One was 26 weeks and one was 30 weeks or so. So yeah, I've been involved in a couple, but more often than not there's more people involved. There's doctors, paediatricians, senior midwives and everyone involved, so I don't tend to get too much hands-on with the prem babies, but yes. And I've also worked in the neonatal unit and the special care baby unit as part of my training to look after little tiny babies, so yes, I've done that. And next, Abby Inge asks, how old is the first baby you caught now? Well, this is going to make me sound old now, because she would be, I think it was a little girl, was it? I can't even remember, that's so bad. So the first baby I delivered will be 15 now. So yeah, I've been doing it for 15 years. And I could, if they were a young mother, be a midwife grandma, but which is where you look after a mother who you delivered, but so technically I could in theory be that now, which is awful. Right, so Louise London asked, I'm a qualified mental health and paediatric nurse, can I do a crash course? So that's like I was talking about the 18-month conversion, so yes you can if you apply. I think you may actually have to have done adult nursing and not just paediatrics and mental health. So double check with the requirements of your university that you want to go to. I did adult nursing, so I was able to do it. And a question from Hayley from My Happy Ever After. She asks, how do I cope when births go wrong? Again, thankfully it hasn't happened too often. I don't think I've had any major disasters. I mean, we've had things where it didn't go to plan or didn't quite go to as expected, and you just have to give them the most information at the time, support them as best you can. Thankfully, yeah, I haven't touched wood, I haven't had any sort of drastic implications or anything, but yeah, I think you just have to make sure you're going through all the protocols and doing everything you can at the time. And then if it didn't go to plan, I mean, I've supported women whose babies have sadly passed away before they've given birth, so we knew what the outcome was going to be, and I've helped them deliver their babies. I don't tend to do that anymore because my own experience, I've lost a child, so I don't feel I can cope with I wouldn't be the right person to be looking after somebody who's lost their baby. But thankfully I haven't been involved where it's been an unexpected stillbirth or anything like that. So, but again, you just have to do the best you can at the time and make sure you're following everything that you can do. Make sure you're always asking for help when you need it. It's very important if you're in that job, you know, don't just soldier on, don't just think, oh, I won't bother anyone, you always ask. So, bit of a serious one there. And then next question I've got is from Alison Dene, who asks, what made you want to become a midwife? Well, I've always been interested in pregnancy, reproductive health, women's health. I've just always been fascinated by the biology of it, the sort of miracle, if you like, of it, how it all develops. Pregnant women, just been fascinated by it, but I wasn't sure I wanted to specialise so much. That's why I did the adult nursing first. But during that course, it made me realise, yes, I did want to specialise certainly in women's health, and I went and did gynecology for a year, which I really enjoyed, but it was kind of limited, and you were limited in the decisions you could make. So I felt like I was ready, and I wanted to do the midwifery and specialise, and I'm really glad I did, because it, you know, really is my area of interest. So I've just always been interested in it, really, and I've always wanted my own children and felt very maternal, so I think that helps. And you kind of want to mother the mother. It's not all about all cuddly babies and that, it's not really about that, it's sort of about supporting the women through that time in their life, making families, and helping them, you know, through those first few weeks of becoming a mother. I think it's really important. She also asked, what sort of midwifery do I do now? Well, now I've done lots of different things. So firstly, I worked on labour ward. I've worked on all the different areas. Most trusts, you sort of do a rotation. You do part of the time on delivery suite, part of the time on postnatal wards, part of the time on antenatal wards, and you might do clinics as well in the hospital, so you might do all just to rotate around. Others, they find they might want to specialise a bit more, so they just do the delivery suite. But most midwives will have to do a bit of everything, otherwise they get de-skilled in certain areas. Like if you don't do labour ward for ages, you're going to get de-skilled in that area, and then if you suddenly have to do something, you're not going to know what to do. So most of them, they do a rotation. I've also done a lot of community midwifery, where we do the work in either the GP surgeries or a standalone clinic, and, you know, look after women when you come for your checkups, when you come for your first appointment, sort out all the routine care, refer if anything goes wrong, and then also go out and do the visits for postnatal women, so helping them with breastfeeding, motherhood, making sure their health's okay afterwards. and I really enjoyed that. And also part of that was being on call and delivering women at home, like doing home births. Now I do a little bit of extra work where I work at the local birth centre, and sometimes I work at the hospital as well, but mostly now I'm working from home in this sort of capacity. Like, I work in the media, I work on my blog Midwife and Life, and I do a bit of freelance writing, and I do information, I do online courses and things like that. So I'm more of a freelance writer, midwife advisor, that sort of thing, but I do still do some clinical work. Right, now, question from Channel Mum, which is a YouTube channel, and they've got their own website in the UK, is how many babies have you been part of delivering? Well, that is a tricky one because I don't really know. I know, as I said before, you have to have 40 babies that you've delivered to qualify, and we had to count them, we had to write them all in a book and the details of the women and everything. But then I was like, I don't want to count anymore, and I didn't count, but it's got to be over 500, I guess. I did quite a few, so I'm not sure the exact number, but it's a lot. And Faye over at Glossy Tots, she asks, do you get annoyed with women being convinced they're in labour and having false starts? No, I think we don't get annoyed. I know that some midwives got a bad reputation of, if women ring up and they say, you know, they say, oh no, can't be labour, but it's very difficult, especially even if you're not first time mum, it's your third baby, fourth baby, it feels like labour, and it is labour. Like, if you're getting pains and the contractions are coming, it may not be that you're about to have the baby, but it's the beginning of labour. So I don't think you should call it false labour. It could be early labour, latent phase of labour, there's different ways. So they're all doing something, if they're not really dilating the cervix, they're all doing something. So we don't get annoyed at all. It's part of the role, like supporting women in early labours and giving them the right options. And it might be saying, yes, go home. That's the right option for them, because if you stay at hospital, you start a cascade of interventions then, because then you're like, oh well, they haven't been, you know, you're looking at your clock and saying they haven't done anything yet. So it's all for a reason. So no, we don't get annoyed at all. We'd rather you come in or ring up rather than sit at home and something's wrong. So, and I've got a question here from Vanessa Staley. Asks what my transfer rate is and am I backed by any local doctors? Well, I think that's more from a US point of view, where the midwives work independently or in birth centres together, like our equivalent of independent midwives. So when I work as part of an NHS trust, so I'll give you the transfer rate of typical transfer rate of a birth centre. Like, our local birth centre's got a transfer rate of 20%, and that's because they only take in low risk mums. So they've got no other risk factor apart from being pregnant, so the transfer rate I think is quite low, and you've still got a better, even if you go to a midwife led unit, you will still have, even if you're transferred in, you're still likely to have a better outcome at the end as if you start in a hospital with consultant led care. It's just the statistics. Right, okay, so Roxanne from The Guy's Life asks, as a midwife, are you against using pain medication? No. Have what you like. You just know the pros and cons, that's all. There's no need to, you don't get any medals at the end of childbirth. My first labour, I had everything. Epidural, Gasinet, Pethidine, paracetamol, everything. So, and then the others, I think I only had Guess in here, but that was just the way it happened. I think I wouldn't have been against trying anything else. I think, yeah, there's pros and cons to everything, but if that's what you need at the time, fine. But I'm going to link in the comments, in the description of this video, I wrote, I've got an infographic and an article about the pros and cons of different pain relief. So take a look at that, and you can, as long as you're well informed before and you know the sort of risks and pros and cons of each, it's good to have a good idea, but the methods of pain relief they give you now are generally safe. There are risks involved, but they're generally safe. That's why they give them. So if you need it, have it. That's my opinion. Question from Alex, from Melissa and Alex Vlogs. Do you feel like a blog and vlog, this is more of a blogging question by the way, do you feel like a blog and vlog work well together, or do people generally prefer one or the other? I think it depends, because myself I kind of prefer reading blogs, but I do like watching video, and sometimes video can just explain something a lot better. So but I do think they work well together. I've got both. I primarily write on the blog, but I also do video, and I like them both equally. I'm getting better at editing video, I think. So yeah, I think they both work well quite in hand, but people tend to be slightly lean towards one or the other, mostly. Like I lean more towards blogging, but I have the YouTube as well. Samantha from New Young Family, she asks, what is the most fun thing about blogging and how did you get started? So the most fun thing about blogging, well, just getting to have loads of fun experiences. I've been to loads of great events and met some great people. I went to an awards ceremony last year, which was super fun. And just being able to work from home, getting to get products as well, and yeah, I just love the doors it's opened up. And how did I get started? Well, I just started. I just thought, originally I was trying to sell a product that I had an idea for, but that didn't really work out. But then I sort of got the blogging bug and decided that that would be a way to, I'd give it a go, see if there was a career in there. At first I just did it alongside my normal work, and then it just took off, and I've gone from there. I could talk all day about blogging really. So Kristen from Kristen Hall Vlogs, do I want more children? And that was also a question from Rhonda from R3Bs. And if I had more children, would I hire a midwife or go on assisted? Well, firstly, no more children for me. I've got 3, I've had 4 because I lost my first one. So no more kids. I'm over 40 now, and definitely no more. And we've got genetic issues, so no, definitely no more. I feel done. So what I did, I just went with my local NHS hospital and trust. I didn't specify a midwife, I just thought I'd go there or on the day, and I just chose from who was on that day, and it worked out fine. I had nice midwives that I knew. It was quite strange going into where I worked. My last baby just ended up, I had him at home, unplanned, unassisted. Well, my husband delivered the baby, but I in no way planned that. He just came far too quick. I didn't even get going. I didn't even get out of my pajamas, so yeah, wouldn't advise that. And I would never advise going unassisted, even if you're completely low risk and you think you know what you're doing. There's always things that could go wrong. You know, 9 out of 10 times it goes fine, no problem, and you think, yeah, it's fine. But there's always that little, you know, would you really, why would you take that risk? Just have someone sitting in the corner that's not going to just say sit in the corner, and then if you know, just have someone observing. Why risk it? Right. Question from Mez Maraki. What is the most fun activity you enjoy doing with your children? At the moment, well, we love going to the beach, forests, walks. I really enjoy sneakily going to trampoline parks with them and bouncing on the trampoline. It's really good fun. Sitting and watching movies together, loads of fun stuff. So. And a question from Krista, single mummy, everyday life. She asks, what do you like best about being a midwife? And what one thing would you like mums to know about having a midwife attend the birth? Oh, what do I like best? Yeah, just being with the women and seeing that new family being born, seeing them come alive as a mother. That's why I like beds and making a difference. Like if I've gone in and helped them breastfeed or help them feel more confident being a mother, that's what I really enjoy and really like getting out of it. It's not, you know, it's fun being there when the baby's born, but that's not the main issue really. It's just being there and supporting them through that time in their life. What would I like mums to know? To trust their instincts, to not be frightened, and trust their health professional, and also to sort of read up a bit about it, and don't ignore things. Be informed about choices, and don't just stop at the birth as well. Don't people focus too much about the birth and the baby, and they don't think about actually looking after the baby afterwards and how their life's going to change. They just think they're going to keep the baby in a handbag or something. I know I didn't, and then I came unstuck. Right, so Laura Cinto asks, how long have I been a midwife? I think I sort of touched on that with the first baby I delivered, so 14 years I've been a midwife. Marcus Stringer asks me a curveball question. Would you rather fight 100 duck-sized horses or 1 horse-sized duck? I thought about this, and it's really hard because a horse-sized duck would be pretty scary because they would hiss and stuff. So probably 100 duck-sized horses, but that would still be quite big. But I think horses you can just shoo away quite easily. They're quite scared animals. So yeah, 100 duck-sized horses. So we've come to the end of the Ask Me Anything. If there's anything more you'd like to know, please do ask me in the comments or get in touch with me on my social media. I always love to hear from people. If you've got an idea for me to do a video, if there's anything in particular you want me to talk about or write about, do let me know, and I will see you soon.